Good afternoon. My name for the record is Nancy Bale, that's B-A-L-E, and I have two chances, two bites at the apple, and I'm so grateful. One for myself and one for an organization I've been a member of for a long time and have commented for before, the Denali Citizens Council. So if you don't mind, I'd like to make comments for Denali Citizens Council first, and for myself second. I think I'm listed the other way, but if it's all right.
That will be fine.
All right, thank you. The comments from Denali Citizens Council are at PC 28, and I have a copy of them here as well. You can see the colored maps if you look at them online. I think if they're printed out, they're probably black and white. For the record, my name is Nancy Bale. I came to Alaska in 1971. My first 30 or so years in the state were spent in the vicinity of then McKinley National Park. I worked in tourism at a small lodge near Kantishna and spent 20 winters on the Tanzana River in 19C in a small cabin with my husband. I'm now a school nurse in Anchorage. My experiences in bush life and being around Denali have given me a close look at both state and federal wildlife management. These comments are on behalf of the Denali Citizens Council, a local group founded in Cantwell in 1974. The unique thing about our members is their close ties to the park, either through owning property in the area, concerned running businesses, or just simply long-term residents in the area. Many hunt and fish. We aren't a park partner or friend group, and we get into it with the Park Service a lot. But we do agree with NPS about Proposal 186. Proposal 186 would reinstitute an area close to wolf hunting and trapping in roughly 3 townships of state lands in the Stampede area. And you have a map in your proposal packet. The area that you instated before was slightly smaller, but it was in that same general area. You established a similar closed area in 2004, and it went for 6 years until 2010, and some members of the boards who worked on these proposals are present today. We realize that this is an unusual request, a request not to engage in consumptive use in a subunit, a small focused area. We understand that such proposals before you will always be rare. However, they are solidly within the scope of your statutory authority. They aren't Park Service management. They could be state management, have been state management. And here's why you should do this again. First, it would support the long-established NPS scientific study of wolf behavior and ecology, begun by David Meach in 1986, following upon the work of Adolph Murray. This study leverages federal funding, but the work is highly relevant to your state work. NPS uses collaring of some members of every wolf pack that dens and spends much of its time in the 17,000 square kilometer area of the study area. These wolf families tip out onto state lands in the townships, and the territories are shown in the colored map here. And it is there that they are vulnerable. Reducing the risk on these wolves when they venture out would support this long-term study. Long-term ecologic study of wolves is not done widely on state lands. The information from this study can inform your management in unique ways. Proposal 186 is an incredible opportunity for cooperative respect and management in a small area. Second, visitors to the national park appreciate the opportunity to view living wolves, and we are confident that a closure in just this area would stabilize that population. We know that viewing success is related to many factors, such as den location, but nevertheless, human harvest nearby is a controllable variable. If you look at the graph in your comments, you'll see that human harvest is not trivial. Roughly 1/3 of the mortality experienced by these wolves is from human harvest. Third, some have said that it is not your role to manage in this way. The area is too small, no biological concern, this is park, not state management, or this would impact consumptive uses. We disagree. In fact, you have already managed in this way. And finally, there are no management conflicts. 20C is not now, or probably will never be identified for intensive management. Both ungulate and wolf densities in 20C are lower than in the nearby 20A. And the conditions of the nearby park study and viewing opportunities exist nowhere else in the state. You could decide to support this idea just as you did in 2004. I urge you to read again our comments. We contain colored maps and also a link at the very bottom to the NPS study information on the Park Service website. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you for your testimony. Questions from board members?
I would love some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mrs. Bale. I'm curious, has the Denali Citizens Council ever submitted a wildlife proposal to the Federal Subsistence Board restricting the federally qualified people from taking wolves on the preserve?
No. It's fairly indistinct use.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's very inaccessible. Yeah. Yeah. There's some people from Inchumina who use the area out there. We don't have any problem with that. Many of them are our friends.
Commissioner?
Yeah, I have a question for you. So it appears most of this is built around view opportunities for people to see. When you look at Denali National Park and the preserve, it's a fairly large area with this, largely has one road going into it. Have you ever talked to the National Park Service about expanding the road system in that park to provide some other viewing opportunities, for instance, on the south side, or something else to get people in to basically see wolves in the park, or are you just simply focusing on the existing infrastructure and hoping that the state will provide that viewing opportunity?
Well, there was a study to build a road along the Stampede Corridor. You're probably aware of that. It was earlier on in the century. And it was determined, and this is studied by several universities, that the permafrost in that area and further west would make building a road or a railroad, both of which have been suggested, practically impossible. And of course, the existing road is suffering from those climate change phenomena. So right now, we're sort of stuck with the existing road, and as a former testifier said, that road is also closed right now because of a climate change related slump that they're trying to build a bridge over. So the south side, whole different kind of country, heavily hunted. Again, subsistence use is possible back down there. We haven't, you can go out to Trapper Creek, that road that goes partway in. I'm not familiar with wolf populations there. The study is only north of the range. The wolf study is only north of the range because the habitat there is better.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for asking.
Additional board member questions? If not, you may go ahead with your personal testimony.
Right, I don't think I'll take all 5 minutes. My husband and I used the Homestead Act in 1972. We actually, BLM was very good to us and let us apply late and get our cabin out on the Tanzana River in 19C. And we lived there for many years, and my view of that area is that it's not an appropriate area for intensive management. There are no settled communities there. It's mostly guided. There's some resident use, yes there is, but it's mostly guided, and it's rough country, kind of hungry. I don't remember seeing a lot of critters of any kind out there when we lived. We were there in the 80s, early 90s, and late 70s. So of course things could really have changed since then. However, I think the proposals in, I think it's proposal 60 through 62 for IM, I think you'd have to do a whole study, you'd have to calculate densities and look for a harvestable surplus, because I don't think IM's ever been done in 19C, I could be wrong. That would be a lot of effort by the department for an area that I think probably won't ever produce harvestable surpluses that can be controlled through management. So that was my 2 cents about that in the area where I used to live. And as an individual, of course, I support proposal 186. And just to give you some insight, I communicate with the park biologist, Bridget Ward, and there are 3 collared wolves in the Grand Creek pack, which is a pack that goes out into Stampede a lot, and all 3 of them have been killed this winter, either through trapping or hunting. They get a mortality signal, they go to the site, their trap circles, the collars haven't been returned yet, so it's not for sure, but the conclusion is all 3 of the collared wolves have been trapped, so the study of that pack now awaits collaring additional wolves. And Bridget is out flying the spring surveys right now, so she may collar some additional wolves in that pack, or they'll lose track of that pack. So that just gives you an idea of how having a closure like this is a scientific, it's helpful scientifically to allow the Park Service to continue studying these wolves in intact living groups. So thanks for the opportunity to comment. If you have any questions, I'd love to try to answer them.
Questions from board members? I'm seeing none.
Yeah, thank you.
So